We now have a presentation from Fiatech titled Advanced Information Mapping, or AIM, for Work Packaging Success. Advanced Work Packaging from CII Research Team 272 is being implemented through Fiatech's AIM project. CII members can increase their likelihood of success by implementing available tools and a set of best practices when implementing work packaging. Here to share that body of knowledge with us is Jim Kinter, Manager of Engineering Information Systems for Zachry Holdings. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Kinter.
Hello. Welcome to the CII conference. Thank you for allowing me to come and speak with you. According to the RT 272 report, the industry could increase productivity by as much as 25% and reduce total installation costs by something between 4% and 10% by simply improving the coordination and planning of the information and sequencing at the work face. Well, that's a really big carrot. And the report goes on to indicate that there are correlated increases in project predictability and performance visibility, as well as the innate safety benefits that come from improved planning. The purpose of our presentation today is to discuss work packaging, some lessons learned, and some resources that we at Zachry have found helpful in our efforts to experience some of these improvements, how you can do the same, and what Fiatech is doing in this space to drive the industry forward. So the theme of our presentation is refined to best practices. And we have to ask the questions like the birds on the wire in the picture. Are you sitting on the wire? We're seeing an informal body of knowledge come together relative to work packaging, but here we are once again talking about the benefits of advanced workface planning. This raises some important questions. What are some of the barriers to entry for getting started with work packaging? Are there any tools available to lower them? And if starting from scratch, what information would we need to know to get a successful program in place? Ultimately, we have to ask whether you're really interested in work packaging. We're left with the question of why aren't we seeing broad adoption? I'm here today on behalf of Fiatech because Zachry and most of the other advanced information mapping project participants have been doing work packaging under other names for decades, and we're now seeing the industry change right before our eyes. We see the industry undergoing another significant change as 3D and 4D planning tools become more mainstream. We already see these changes dramatically affecting how each of us views and interfaces with the workface. Today, we'd like to help you understand some of the lessons we at Zachry have learned along the way, as we've recently rolled out an upgrade to our existing work packaging system. So how did we refine this to best practice? First, there were several barriers to adoption we had to get into the open. As with most implementations, the most difficult challenges often boil down to people problems. A number of barriers became apparent as we pushed forward with this new system. Perception, turf protection, status quo mindset, the my experience can't be filtered by or managed or reproduced by any system, tribal knowledge. The missing message was, where's the beef? One of the most notable challenges is in getting the value proposition that is strikingly apparent at the work phase effectively communicated upstream at the point of engineering design. The RT 272 implementation resource says that a key requirement of this process is a collaboration between construction and engineering during the engineering planning phase. In our experience, this is a fundamental truth. To the engineering team, the big question is, why are we doing this? You need to understand that reading the stats behind RT 272 and AIM are not enough. There are very real challenges getting the value proposition for workface planning communicated to and buy-in from upstream stakeholders like engineering and procurement. To the EPC or constructor, this is the beef, and getting real commitment from JV partners, et cetera, is something that requires work and demonstrable results. We were forced to evangelize the notion of construction work packaging and the reality that several hours of engineering or design resource effort has a magnified cost impact at the workface. Conveying this message to engineers without having to explain complicated data flows and relationships has been a real challenge. Finally, once the message was conveyed and the level of conformance increased, there's a point where you're likely to encounter some of the same pushback we've seen. The, okay, I get it, but when is enough? This is especially true if data quality issues are uncovered and design work turns into design rework in order to get resultant engineering data suitable for consumption by the work packaging system. As we rolled out the new system, we found that there were many stakeholders and actors in the process that had stake in the game, but didn't know that there was even a game being played. In our organization, we found this to be somewhat of an overarching problem, and strong executive leadership is important. We also need to ask the question about who owns the tool. Some of the things that we've talked about so far indicate that there are difficulties. We found some of the system integrations that have worked in the past no longer worked, and that required rework of the redesign of those engineering systems. However, the new system performs better and provides better information at the work face. Another important note is that this is a journey. The next steps for us are to explore work packaging of electrical and civil components, as well as the viability of engineering, procurement, and eventually commissioning and startup work packaging. So a pig and a chicken are walking down a road, and the chicken says, "Hey pig, I was thinking we should open a restaurant." And the pig replies, "Maybe, well what would we call it?" And the chicken responds, "How about ham and eggs?" The pig thinks for a moment and says, "No thanks, I'd be committed, but you'd only be interested." The point is that you need to focus your energy on making the pig successful and keeping the chickens out of the way. Here are some examples of how this tooling has helped us plan and execute more effectively. One of the questions that we've heard repeatedly through the conference is, so what does a work package look like? Well, here's an installation work package. This comes out of our system. You can see some of the model components, the things that are like what are shown up on the screen. This is a sample work package pulled together from steel data we're using from a recent industrial project. We use status visualization features to help us visually identify what the status of the components are. Here we have a 3D PDF that can be reviewed on any computer. You can zoom, pan, and rotate. It's invaluable for visually communicating information with third parties. Once we import the CAD data and the piping isometrics, we get a hierarchical tree structure that represents every component in the piping and steel models and their relationships within the isometrics. Here you can see that component tree in the left-hand navigation, organized by isometric number. By taking status information from various sources and marrying it to the model, we can visualize the status of a particular component, thereby providing a larger value proposition that visually represents overall status or to see where critical path activities lie. So as adoption of work packaging grows across the industry and as the practices and principles around the topic continue to mature, we're seeing a convergence of information, materials, documentation, plans, schedules, etc., as well as an increasingly significant amount of anecdotal information coming forward from other companies that are using these tools. The result is a coalescing of a body of knowledge, as well as a de facto collection of best practices, tools, and templates. AIM is a continuation of the great work done by CII's RT272. One of the primary barriers to implementation of work packaging in the industry is information management and the standardization of workflows and processes. The presentation so far is focused on refined to best practice, addressing how advanced workplace planning is implemented. In line with CII's findings, we think that the ability to visualize project data and numerous disparate systems and data point is crucial and will provide significant benefits toward the predictability of our project execution. We also believe that as the tools improve, they innately improve our ability to support internal initiatives of engineering and construction safety. So I have to ask you, are you on high center and ready to get going instead of talking? Well, the truth is you're not alone. There is a community of interest and a significant resource available to you within Fiatech and the AIM project. The current scope of our work for the project is to develop a framework for contractual specifications of deliverables, document typical data interchanges by project stakeholders across organizational boundaries, develop draft templates for the key exchanges, and lay out information resource pools for both producers and consumers. If you're really interested in understanding how to move forward with work-face planning, advanced work packaging, please come to our implementation session where you will understand the highlights for productivity, cost, and schedule gains, valuable insights into implementing advanced work-face planning, and tactical implementation tips, as well as meet work packaging subject matter experts and the AIM project. We will be in the grand ballroom from 3 to 4 today at 1 and again at 2:15. Thank you very much.